So the first tool we're going to be using inside of the Blender OPC tools is we're going to import our terrain object, our OBJ, and we're going to use that OBJ to conform our meshes to it. So let's take a look inside of Blender. So here's Blender open. I've got my tools open over here, and I'm going to expand the terrain manager. Now, before we do anything in here, and actually before I like to do anything inside of Blender, I come over here to this window drop down and I toggle system console. And when I do that, you'll see I get this window that comes up that looks very cryptic, and there's going to be a lot of information in here. The reason I like to do that is because I can track what's happening in the background as I do a bunch of things. And if I run into any problems, it'll pretty much be noted in here and give me some additional details. And that way, if anyone asks on Discord, if you have a problem, oh, did you have a console open, you can take a screenshot of this and post that in addition to your entire screenshot to help troubleshoot some things. So I just have it open. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of move it to the side. And I might bring that back at some point. Actually, I'm going to leave it here, and then it's going to click here, and it'll go into my background. It's still there. It's just hidden now. So up here, I'm going to expand my terrain manager, and I'm going to do import terrain OBJ. Now at this point, if you followed my recommendations for where you're putting your files, earlier on in the course, you went inside of Unity and you flattened your T boxes, you dug out some bunkers, maybe you did that with RAM, maybe you did it by hand, but you should have exported your terrain.obj. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you missed the step, and you need to go back to the last step of the Unity section, look in the table of contents, and look at exporting your OBJ. Now, if you did that, you should have put it, and in my case, I have my D drive, and I have my OPCD projects, and I have my Hershey Country Club folder. And underneath there, I've got my Hershey Country Club height map and my, am I in the wrong? Hershey OPCD folder. And I'm gonna have my terrain folder. And this is where I put my terrain OBJ. If you followed my instructions, yours should be there as well. If not, you put it someplace else and you're on your own. So I'm going to open up that terrain OBJ. Now when I do that, some things start to happen in the background. And this is where having that console is useful. You can see I've got this progress here and it says 0%. This is going to go from 0% to 33% to 66% and then done. And it takes probably 2 or 3 minutes. It will depend on the speed of your computer. One thing to keep in mind, if you click inside here at all and you perhaps move this around, click in here and hit the enter key, because sometimes that will actually get hung up because it's waiting for your input. So just be aware, if this isn't moving for a long time, just come in here, highlight something and just hit the enter key. Otherwise that might just be hung up. So let me just, we'll see if this progresses. Once this gets to 33, I'll pause the video so you guys can get an idea of what this looks like. If I had a beer, right now is when I would drink it. Unfortunately, it's 10:30 in the morning right now. So, and my coffee is gone. Maybe I should go get another cup of coffee. I've got my water here. 11 a.m. this morning, I do have a work meeting I got to jump onto. And then I'm going to be busy for the rest of the day. So this might be the last video that I do for the day. And I'm just going to hit enter here again to make sure that this is not hung up. Now, if you do hide this kind of like in the background, it's not going to get hung up. Now you will see that if you click on your Blender screen, I should explain this, it turns this gray like it's locked up. It's not. It says not responding up here. It is. It's just working in the background. So this is another trick or tip I could give you, is if you kind of want to go away but keep an eye on this, you can click here, and as this turns gray, it's done once this grayness, this fog over top of here, once that disappears, the whole process is finished. So that's kind of helpful when Blender's working and you get that gray screen. So you can see now it's at 67%. I'm just going to pause this until it's done. Okay, so you can see that that finished. Progress is 100%. Info terrain moved to the scene collection. So that means it's in this collection over here, and selected file it tells you what terrain OBJ that you used. So now if I come back in here to Blender, you can see that that gray fog is now gone and things are responding just fine. If I scroll all the way to the bottom here, you can see that there's my terrain imported, the thing that I just processed. It's hidden though, so I can actually turn that on, and when I turn it on, I can actually look at this if I wanted to. And you can see there's my terrain. I got some serious Z flooding going on, that's expected. But you can see, if you look close, you can see that my terrain and my conform, my golf course, I can see kind of the parts of it, all the stuff I did in Unity. So I'm just gonna hide this again to make things look nicer. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip over the outer plot mesh. There'll be another video on doing our outer. I'm gonna come down here to conform meshes. And I'm gonna select all because I'm gonna conform all my meshes in my entire project to that newly imported terrain, okay? I could come back here and I could conform a couple meshes, so that's useful if you just made a couple of small changes later on. You can come back here and you can just select a couple meshes and conform those. It'll go much quicker. So, but I'm gonna, in this case, I'm gonna do all and conform the meshes. And this happens pretty quick, but if I come back over here to my Blender, it actually happened. I was not able to get to my tool before it finished. Now I only had about 148 meshes. I've had courses with well over 1,000, and it'll take a few minutes longer. But you can see now that's done. I got a length of time. It only took like, yeah, barely like a tenth of a minute. So what, 6 seconds to do it. And now if I come back over here, you can see that my meshes, all right, are now more 3D and they are conformed to my terrain. This is an area here. This is off my course someplace. That's not on my course, but that looks like a water body way off my course. But now if I zoom in here a little bit, you can see that this lake body right here, this is a lake, that's conformed. You can see the bottom of my lake here. You can see that this bunker, if I highlight the bunker, I hit numpads period, I can scroll in here. It's a little bit difficult to see, but if I come up here into here and I do wireframe mode, I can see that's a little bit different. I can also come into this one. Let's go back to this guy. But you can see here, I'm not exactly thrilled with this bunker, so I might have to dig that out, but that's beyond the point at this point. But you can see that things are conformed. I don't have any errors, so things are looking actually pretty good. Okay. So at this point, we've conformed our meshes. They're now a 3D object. They're not perfectly flat anymore, so we've got some undulation to them. And we're going to go through some of these other tools.